Hey everybody, welcome back to Cruise Blog. It's Allie, and today I'm going to be talking about the surprising advantages that small cruise ships can have over those mega cruise ships. Let's get into it. While mega ships like Icon of the Seas offer an unparalleled experience with their vast array of amenities and entertainment options, smaller ships have their own unique charm. Though you won't find roller coasters, water slides, or countless dining options on board, the intimate atmosphere, the affordable fares, and the destination-focused itineraries create a relaxed and personal cruising experience. Fewer crowds lead to a greater opportunity to connect with passengers and crew as well, and instead of focusing on the ship's amenities, you can gear up for long days ashore, immersing yourself in the off-the-beaten-path destinations on your itinerary. Well, are you maybe still not convinced? Here are 7 more advantages to sailing on small cruise ships that you might not have considered. Up first is the intimacy. Today's biggest cruise ships can hold upwards of 7,600 passengers, even with more crew than small ships. Providing personalized and attentive service is difficult. However, crew members on small cruise ships are more likely to remember your face after just 1 or 2 interactions. With fewer guests to tend to, crew members can offer more personalized service and they can quickly understand individual preferences. Not only that, but the low-key nature of small ships makes it easier to meet other passengers as well. You'll see the same faces repeatedly throughout the sailing, whether that's at dinner, maybe walking to the show, or on the Lido pool deck, or disembarking in port. This fosters a nice sense of community that's often lacking on those big mega cruise ships. Another reason to consider is the opportunity to sail on unique itineraries. While many see larger cruise ships as destinations in and of themselves, other cruisers are more destination focused. Smaller ships can navigate into ports of call that cannot accommodate mega ships, giving you more variety when it comes to choosing an itinerary. Though the Caribbean islands of St. Thomas and St. Martin are undeniably beautiful, there are many other interesting ports to explore as well in the world. For instance, maybe you're interested in exploring ports of call throughout Africa or Asia. While cruises aren't as plentiful to these areas of the world like you'll normally find to the Caribbean or the Bahamas, you can find itineraries on smaller ships such as Norwegian Sky. Moreover, expedition ships, which are costly, can provide guests a more immersive experience in port. While larger ships can sail through Antarctica, for example, guests cannot go ashore due to regulations prohibiting more than 100 passengers on land at any time. This is to protect the landscape of the very delicate ecosystem there. Plus, expedition ships typically have knowledgeable guides on board to give enriching lectures, and they help you come ashore as well to give more guidance. They also lead hikes and other tours. Exploring less visited destinations adds a sense of adventure to your cruise for sure. From the beaches of the remote Pacific Islands to ancient ruins of historical sites and vibrant cultures of small coastal towns, small cruise ships provide an experience that's not available on a large vessel. Smaller ships are also easier to navigate. Massive cruise ships can feel like labyrinths with seemingly endless hallways and corridors. If you didn't take the time to glance at the deck plan before embarkation day, it might take you a few days to learn the lay of the land when you're on board. Smaller ships, on the other hand, are typically pretty straightforward. With fewer decks to navigate, it's easier to familiarize yourself with the ship's amenities. Plus, you'll spend less time walking from point A to point B, meaning you can quickly access your favorite spots on board, from the main dining room to the theater or the pool. In addition, smaller ships are usually more adult-focused. Families with young children may not see this as an advantage. However, if your children are grown or in your 20s and childless, like me, you may want to seek out a cruise ship less likely to be overrun by kids. Since smaller cruise ships have less real estate, there are fewer activities for children to do on board. You won't find those water slides, rock walls, the ice skating rinks, the roller coasters, etc. on board. Instead, the experience is more tailored to adult interests like upscale bars and enrichment lectures. While it's not to say you won't find kids on board, especially if you're sailing during spring break or the winter holidays, families are more likely to choose a ship with more activities to keep everybody entertained. Another reason to consider is that you'll have fewer opportunities for onboard spending. Unfortunately, mainstream cruise lines are known for nickel and diming their passengers. From specialty dining to extra cost activities, some passengers feel like the experience is less inclusive than it used to be during a more traditional era of cruising. Newer and larger ships have seemingly endless options to tempt guests to spend extra money. Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas, for example, is the only ship in the fleet with an immersive train car specialty dining experience. Select ships within Norwegian's Breakaway and Prima class have go-kart tracks on the top deck. However, this activity isn't included in the cost of your cruise, as you'll have to pay $15 per person to race your friends and family. Smaller ships don't have the kind of space for those amenities, leading you to have fewer opportunities to be tempted for spending money. While you can still browse the cruise lines, store and debate bringing home duty-free spirits, fewer specialty restaurants and extra cost activities means it's easier to keep your onboard spending to a minimum. Moreover, if you opt to sail on a luxury or expedition ship, the fares tend to be more inclusive anyway. Rather than worrying about pricing out drink packages, Wi-Fi, and excursions, many of these traditional add-ons are included in the cost of your cruise. Another reason you should consider sailing on a small cruise ship is that it has a smaller passenger capacity. If you aren't a fan of crowds, opting for a small cruise ship can result in a more relaxing experience. Ships like Grandeur of the Seas can hold at maximum capacity around 2,400 guests. In comparison, Icon of the Seas and Carnival Celebration can accommodate over 6,400 passengers on board. Sharing this ship with fewer passengers often means less congestion in public spaces. It's typically easier to find a lounge chair on the pool deck, and navigating the ship is easier without the hustle and bustle that can come with larger vessels. Have you ever waited 10 minutes or longer for an elevator? It can be very annoying, and you won't have to worry about that as much on a smaller ship. And the final reason you should consider a smaller cruise ship is the affordability. Sailing on a small ship can be a great way to cruise on a budget. A 6-night cruise on board Carnival Paradise, which is one of the smallest and older ships in Carnival's fleet, starts at $599 per person, whereas a week-long cruise on Carnival Jubilee, which is Carnival's newest vessel, costs at least $769 per person. Not only that, but there are more cabins for budget-conscious travelers. Bigger ships place an emphasis on balcony cabins, which come with a higher price tag than inside cabins. Carnival Elation, for example, is one of the oldest and smaller ships in Carnival's fleet, and it has only about 1,100 cabins. While passengers can splurge on a suite or one of the very few standard balconies, 39% of staterooms are interior cabins with no natural light. Carnival Celebration, in comparison, has 846 interior staterooms, which equates to 31% of its total inventory. The difference means that smaller ships like Carnival Elation offer a higher percentage of budget-friendly cabins, making it easier for cruisers to find affordable fares. This trend only applies to mainstream cruise lines, though. If you want to cruise on an expedition ship or a luxury line like Regent Silverseas, you'll pay thousands more, even for the cheapest stateroom on board. All right, everybody, those are the surprising advantages that small cruise ships have over mega ships. Comment below if you prefer sailing on smaller ships or whether you are someone who likes to be on the newest and biggest cruise vessels. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody, and be sure and like and subscribe to Cruise Blog so that you can be notified every time we have a new awesome video. Until next time, happy cruising.